The whopping 2 minutes and 48 seconds long ad displays a glamorous Kendall Jenner whose photo shoot is interrupted by smiling protesters holding generic signs that say, "Join the conversation," and have hearts and peace signs. A passing protester nods to Kendall, and she figuratively and literally becomes a new woman as she rips off her blonde wig and miraculously turns her glam makeup into a bare face with just a swipe of her sleeve. She then has the bright idea to soothe tension by handing one of the seemingly innocuous police officers a can of Pepsi. The ad ends with the officer shrugging and everybody cheering before the final slate that says "Live Bolder." To top it all off, the ad is paired with a gratingly repetitive trumpet and beat combo that feels like it was made on GarageBand. The ad was met with immediate backlash and criticism, with people stating the ad was insensitive and used social movements as a prop to sell soda. Pepsi was trying to recreate a marketing strategy used by their longtime competitor Coca-Cola, who had had previous success with this advertising formula. Whatever Pepsi's intention, this ad isn't anything but misguided and tone-deaf. The advertisement itself was pulled after only 48 hours, and Pepsi released an apology on Twitter stating, "Pepsi was trying to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed the mark, and we apologize. We did not intend to make light of any serious issue." Which, in truth, is a lame excuse. The brand knew what the social climate was and still chose to produce an ad that seemed to explicitly reference Black anti-police and Vietnam War protesters, as well as using the aesthetic of social movements such as Black Lives Matter. The anger was also increased because of Pepsi's choice to use a white model and conventionally attractive actors. FridayThings.com says, "The vagueness of the ad itself highlights how Pepsi was working to make money off of the existence of social movements while simultaneously avoiding politically or morally aligning themselves with a specific cause. The general message of the ad is, know that we stand with you, so long as you don't ask what exactly we're standing for." Kendall herself was radio silent for 6 months about the backlash, but all was told when season 14 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians aired and the world was able to finally see the emotional turmoil the ad had caused Kendall. And in true influencer fashion, she cried her eyes out to her sisters Courtney and Chloe and said, "Obviously, if I knew that this was going to be the outcome, I would have never done something like this." Funnily enough, the word Pepsi was never said during the entire hour-long episode. The internet was quick to develop memes and criticisms of the ad, with one user stating, "I can't decide what I hate most. There's so much to choose from." Even though the ad was only live for 48 hours, the internet still holds it as a placeholder for what companies should not do when speaking about social issues. In the years prior to this Pepsi ad, companies tried to use woke washing, which is a term created to try and bring in the millennial generation as these older companies were losing ground. The term refers to using social issues to trampoline their products into the minds of the younger generations. What these companies failed to recognize is that their growing audience of millennials didn't want just another silly ad aimed at making them feel better about themselves while still skating around the true issues. There were many instances of this being used by various companies, but none were received well, with the majority of the public calling companies out on their hollow attempts to profit off of something so sensitive and nuanced. But Pepsi truly takes the cake with their infamous Live for Now campaign. FridayThings.com says, brands have moved away from placing celebrities and public figures in their more political ads, clearly realizing that no pretty nepotism baby can shield them from criticism. Positioning a millionaire white woman as the focus point of a protest meant to replicate movements for the underprivileged and oppressed was a mistake so glaringly large, it's almost shocking an entire team of PepsiCo employees approved it. According to Meister, the day before the Kendall Jenner commercial went live, Pepsi had a 2% net positive sentiment on Twitter. By April 8th, the company's net sentiment had dropped by 14 percentage points, sitting at negative 12%. And in the following months, Pepsi's brand reception reached its lowest point in over 8 years, and the purchase consideration score with millennials went from 27% in early April to 24% in mid-July 2017. Many advertising experts were shocked that this pitch even made it through to production, let alone on air. Some in the advertising industry think that the ad was deliberately created by Pepsi, and that the company was playing some form of Machiavellian 3D chess, But this likely isn't the case, as just 6 months after the ad was pulled, Brad Jakeman, the former PepsiCo Global Beverage Group president, stepped down. Luckily, this ad caused other companies to take note, and there have since been improvements in companies' response to social issues, and Pepsi has since recovered from their accidental controversy.